Now, it's time for Spotlight on Business, where every week we put the spotlight on a different local business so you can find out how they serve you and the community. Now from Michiana's Morning News, it's Laura Smith.
Welcome to the Style File, the Happy New Year edition, with Danny Reynolds of Stephensons of Elkhart. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe it. I saw you so much over the holidays because I did so much of my holiday shopping at Stephensons. And then the kids were visiting from Colorado, and so we had to make a trip there. My daughter insisted on it. And, it was good. I got to see you guys, but everybody's favorite gifts when they unwrap them, those beautiful packages. My mother was so obsessed with the wrapping paper. She wanted to keep it. She wouldn't let anyone rip it. She said, "Don't rip that."
There's a long-standing joke around our house that's actually a couple generations old now about like actually trying to open the gift without tearing the paper because, you know, sadly, we all know the cost of the paper. Yeah. But even more so, at the day after Christmas, as we all come back to work, we're all bringing the empty boxes, bows, things that may possibly be able to be, you know, reused. Recycled, whatever. Yeah. So I guess the peril of the retailer.
It's amazing. It's amazing paper, amazing wrapping, but mostly amazing clothes. So what are we looking at this year? Well, first of all, Danny, I can't imagine people hearing you for the first time because you're on with us all the time. And, people know now that not only do you help run your family store since 1964. Well, you didn't run it in 1964, but you've
been dream.
You've been working there for, is it 34 years?
I think it's 32 years
32.
now.
32. Wow.
1994. So
wow.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you opened the men's department, 1931, which is the name of it. What year was that? Was that like 7 years ago?
Yeah, November of 2019. So just before pandemic, we had been experimenting with men's and then went full on with the department in 2019, and then put it on pause for a month or so in 2020, and then we were off to the races, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you have such your finger on the pulse when it comes to retail. Plus, you're very involved in the local, retail, clubs, organizations, whatever. And then also you represent in a meaningful way down in Washington, too, when it comes to that. Where are you at these days when you go to Washington? What are you going to either learn or also teach?
Well, a number of policy issues this year that we're going to kind of be focusing on. As you mentioned, I do a fair amount of work with National Retail Federation, or the NRF as they're called. But a lot of folks know them from is when you read about Black Friday or Small Business Saturday or Cyber Monday or some of these things. During the holidays, you'll oftentimes hear statistics from the National Retail Federation. They were the ones that predicted, and it looks like it's going to be correctly, a $1 trillion holiday season in retail this past season. And
it was good.
Yes, it was. People are out shopping. Thoughtful. They're thoughtfully shopping. They're not what I would call splurging, but people are shopping despite what some of the mainstream media wants to make you think. Our economy is still pretty robust. Those who want to work are working and have disposable income to spend on their family and loved ones. So, yeah, overall a good holiday season. But some of the things we're going to be working on, and we can dive into them a little bit more as we go here, are continuing trade strategy talks with regard specifically to tariffs and that kind of thing, and how that may impact retail and the prices we pay and that sort of thing. I wouldn't be me if I wasn't still talking about credit card swipe fees until we get that bill passed that we've been working on for a long time. That's going to continue to be a primary focus of things we discuss.
Do you think it's going to? Is this the year?
There's definitely some movement there. It's gotten a little bit complicated because one of the original authors of the bill, Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, is planning retirement. So we want to just be careful to sort of not lose focus there. Roger Marshall, Republican senator from Kansas, is the other primary author of that bill, and he is still 100% fully behind it. They've got hundreds of signatures on it. So, I mean, we've got the strength we need. We just need to try to kind of get this thing over the hump. And tell
people to refresh us on what is it exactly, the whole credit card swiping thing and how it impacts businesses?
So what it is the Credit Card Competition Act is the name of it, or the CCCA. And this is really, it's very simple. It's a bill that aims to open up the credit card processing networks from the current duopolic system that we are living in, and that is Visa and MasterCard. They have a stranglehold on that system. They do not open it up to outside processors, so they're able to charge we retailers whatever they want, essentially. And
you have no choice in the
we
matter.
have no choice. You know, these days, I've told the story many times, including on these airwaves, that over my, call it 30 years, I've watched just our store's revenue go from 30-40% credit card based to now something in the neighborhood of 94-95% of all revenue we take in is via credit card.
Wow.
And if you look at through pandemic era, when everybody was forced to shop online, 100% of all retail revenue, I'm not talking Stephensons now, I'm talking globally, 100% of all retail revenue was via credit card. That's when these processors realized that they had all the market share, and they started cranking it up to the tune 20, 30, 40, 50% increases on the fees that they're charging. So as the average consumer, I don't expect most people to get into the weeds like we do on this, but as the average consumer, what you have seen that in is when you go to your favorite little shops, or even more so, I think when you go to your favorite little cafes, restaurants, are you seeing those credit card surcharges? And I just want to encourage you, this is why it's happening, but I want to encourage you to not blame or have any ill will towards those little shops that are doing so, because this has become now after labor and in some cases inventory, but for a boutique or a cafe, this has become a number 2 expense for them. So it's and it's, you know, I always say, as business people, oftentimes we are negotiators. That's our job. We need to take a look at our expense structures, right? Our rents, our labor, manpower, things like insurance, any expenses that you have as a business owner, those are all negotiable to the extent that, okay, if the landlord raises the rent, we can say, okay, maybe I need to look around at someplace else if I can. You know, we have power to control expenses. This one is completely out of our control. So there's nothing we can do. Now, you guys around here know me well enough to know by now that I am not a government overreach kind of guy. I believe in small government at best. Call me a Reagan youth, perhaps. So this is not a bill that aims to put any sort of restrictions, even any sort of caps on the fees that Visa and MasterCard are charging us. It just opens it up to 2 outside processors to force good old-fashioned American competition. That's all we're after.
Are they names that we recognize? Is it Amex
Absolutely.
or
yeah. Well,
Discover?
Amex and Discover are their own entities.
Okay.
So that's almost separate beast, but they are such a small part of the market share. Visa and MasterCard still make up over 90% of the market share. But names like Shazam, Pulse, if you look on the back of your cards, you'll see a lot of those names on there, oftentimes meaning that this card is eligible to run through those processing networks. And why that's important, Laura, is that means what some of these banks are trying to tell you is that, you'll have to get new cards, you're going to lose your points, all these things that are absolutely not true.
Wow.
Our cards are ready to go and to be used with outside competing processors. It also has shown in other countries that have done this to make the networks that much safer. So they may try to tell you, there's going to be more potential for fraud. No, actually, the opposite's true.
Really? See, this is so important that people like you are really in the thick of it and leading the charge in many ways. For local retailers. I mean, thank you for telling us that, and thank you for going to bat for it.
Well,
because
one of the things I say is that if you want to understand how common sense of a bill this is, the 2 senators that I mentioned as the primary sponsors are Dick Durbin from Illinois, who's if we're being honest, about as far left as we can probably get.
Right.
Roger Marshall from Kansas, who is a very conservative Republican.
So it
if
is
these two can agree on something,
yes.
it probably makes sense. I also was fortunate enough to sit through a Senate Ways and Means hearing on this, where the CEOs of Visa and MasterCard were being
Were they in
deposed.
the hot seat?
They were in the hot seats.
That must have been fun.
Again, we had bipartisan senators in there interviewing these folks, and to hear Republicans and Democrats both understanding this issue and asking some difficult questions of these people who are pocketing, brace yourself, over $19 billion a year in profits just from credit card swipe fees. It's a very common sense measure.
Can I just ask you what might sound like a dumb question, because I don't know, but what are we paying for in that fee? Like, what are they alleging that is happening that they deserve to have this, hyperinflated?
Well, what
rate
they'll
that
tell
keeps...
you is a lot of the perks and things that you get with your credit card are paid for through this. What the truth is if you use a rewards card to get your points or miles or whatever it is, we, the retailers, are the ones paying it. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that what they have given us with this credit card system is essentially, as retailers, we are getting our money right now. And there is an element of safety. Back in the days when we were taking checks for transactions,
mm-hmm.
or, we have our own Stephensons charge system that we use, with checks, there's obviously some risk there. We don't see the bounce checks and things a lot like we used to in the world. And with an in-house charge system, there may be a 30, 45, 60-day window before we're getting paid. With credit cards, we're getting paid essentially now or within the next couple of days. I think that does have value. I am 100% okay with paying credit card processing fees. I think you don't get something for nothing. We should be paying fees. It should just be a competitive marketplace that we're paying our fees through. In other words, Visa and MasterCard are the only ones out there right now.
Right.
So what they're able to set the fee at whatever they want. I don't think that's right. I'll pay fees gladly. I appreciate the safety, security, and instantaneous nature with which we're getting our money, but it needs to be a competitive marketplace.
And right before we break here, in general, like, what is a credit card fee to the retailer like you, a small business owner? What are they paying per transaction?
That's a great question. It's a hard one to answer because there are so many different banks out there offering credit card processing, anywhere from 2 to 5%. The smaller the business, the newer the business, the more they're paying. We're fortunate. We're established. We've been around for a long time. We have pretty competitive rates, quite honestly, but they're all over the board. And again, the more rewards cards that you accept, the more fees you're paying. If you're using one of these systems like Square that a lot of small businesses use, because it's very convenient. It's a great system. It's very convenient. It's also very expensive.
I see. Very good to know. Interesting stuff here. We're actually talking style and fashion, but with
and
someone.
Policy.
Yes.
Let's get really sexy and talk about organized retail crime when we come back.
Oh, my gosh. We'll do that with the great Danny Reynolds of Stephensons of Elkhart on Main Street in Elkhart. Don't go away. You're listening to the Style File.
Podcasts by Federated Media.